How has failure impacted where you are today? Has it been the reason why you are here? Or how do you think about failure, especially as it relates to perhaps advice or counsel you could give to other business owners?
Failure is painful, but it happens and you work through it. So resilience is stronger than failure. And so if you have a greater resilience to get back up once you've been knocked down and move forward, then you win. You can win. Where people go wrong is they fail once and they're like, okay, I tried this and I'm no good at it and I'm going to give up. I was a collegiate athlete. I rowed in a boat, and I worked my way up and worked hard to get into that varsity boat and get in that boat and row. And that persistence of not giving up and literally pushing yourself to the limit of what you're capable of, beyond what your mind thinks you're capable of doing, is critical. Pushing harder, trying more, or looking at it from a different angle, or figuring out why you failed and not making that mistake again, which is the same rule I have around here. These CEOs and presidents, I'm like, you can make a mistake, just learn from it and don't make it again. And we've probably made mistakes that cost us $5 million, tell told, but it's all part of the process. You just have to be able to weather the failure. And a lot of people have failed and moved on, from Thomas Edison down the line. There's tons of failure out there, but they just don't give up. Their persistence is greater than, their vision is greater than the failure. Also, some entrepreneurs are like me, and I have no fear. I lack fear. And so not being afraid is critical as well. And so most people you talk to, they're like, oh, I can't start a business. I don't want to risk $100,000, or I don't want to risk $2 million. I just don't want to do it. And no risk, no gain. You have to risk something, and you have to believe in yourself, and not having that fear behind you is really probably one of the greatest things or the greatest gifts I have. Is I just wasn't ever afraid, 28 years old, starting a company and, turning down a job with Fox Sports and starting my own business. People were like, what, are you crazy? You could go work for those guys, go to every football game, basketball game, that's a great job. And I was just like, this is what I want to do. I'm just not going to compromise on what I want to do. So I think persistence and not being afraid are two critical parts of failure. You're going to fail. Everybody fails. There's not one person out there that hasn't failed. And if they tell you they've never failed, they're lying to you, Everybody fails. Like, we're all salesmen. I'm a salesman. You're a salesman. Everybody's a salesman. And whether you're selling yourself, or you're selling your kids on something, or you're selling your business and your products, you're always selling something.
I couldn't agree more. Oftentimes I'll talk to other folks that are wanting to buy a business because that seems like the next best path for their career or their lives or whatever. And ultimately we get to the topic of risk tolerance. A lot of times they'll tell me, I'm really nervous about this, or I'm really nervous about that. Immediately in my head, I think to myself, when it comes down to it, when they have to sign on the dotted line, are they going to be willing to do it?
Mm-hmm.
My thinking about myself, how I've responded in those situations, sometimes I wonder, do I have no fear, or do I evaluate risk differently than those folks? Now, I know you mentioned that you have no fear, but do you also think it might be this concept, you just have a different way of evaluating risk so it doesn't feel as risky to you?
Yeah, I'm a numbers guy. And so, I'm good at Excel, and I sit down and project it out, and I have rules that I follow myself. And so it's like, whenever I do my plan, I always cut it in half and see if I can make it. I cut the revenue in half. I'm like, will I make it or not? What costs could I cut? And so even before I go out into a venture, I'm analyzing that risk, or what am I going to do when it all falls apart? And maybe that's a little bit of neuroses that I have of analyzing just the negative side of it. But I guess my feeling is, and why I have no fear, is if I can do that and I can show that the business can float even with half of the revenue revenue that's coming in. And granted, you're going to make cuts and you're going to make hard decisions, which I've done before, right? And so I've gotten into those situations and I'm like, okay, I know what to do now. I know I need to cut this, and this, and I need to look at sales, or I need to look at operations, or I need to look at the product itself. Has the product gone bad? And so you jump into this crisis manager mode that you've already pre-planned in your brain. And maybe you're right. Maybe that's why I have no fear, because I've already gone through, and there's no way you can count for every scenario, right? You can't account for everything that can go wrong, but you can account for some of it. And then you can manage it. Any business to a degree can survive downturn if you know how to manage it, or you know how to react to it. And where most entrepreneurs fail is they refuse to react to the downturn. So things aren't going well and they're like, okay, things are going to improve, and then all of a sudden it crashes, right? It never improves. And so change and innovation has to be part of that. And so you build that into your model that, okay, if things go wrong, then we're going to change it. And I'm not going to wait. And, timing is everything. And we've changed and, evolved. And I have a lot of theories on product or business growth models. Most businesses have this exponential growth rate that goes through the roof. They mature and then they fall off and die. That's true of every business. But there's a piece of that. There's another curve that you can put on top of it, which is called the innovation curve. And so if you're constantly innovating that business, you tighten that growth curve and pull it back to the growth model. But you're always going to have to be improving your product or adding a product or adding another service to your entity and evolving that. Like AI right now. AI is so incredible. And people that aren't adopting AI right now, they're missing the boat. Unbelievable opportunities here. And so, we're looking at it and going, okay, how can we cut 80 hours down to 10 hours? And it's possible. We can do it. You just have to be willing to do it. You have to be willing to innovate and put a little more energy in it. And if you're in a position to do it, and this is another thing, it's time and money. Either you're spending time or you're spending money as an entrepreneur. And so is it your time that you're going to have to invest in that innovation to make that company grow? Or are you going to spend the money on the people that can help you get there? And spend the money on the people is what I say.